Hospitals smell like endings, but sometimes, if you listen carefully, you'll hear the sound of something beginning. My name is Clara Dawson, and I spent 61 days in room 312, not because my body was broken, but because my heart had forgotten how to live. The first night I was admitted, rain tapped softly against the window. The nurse spoke gently, the way people do when they're not sure if you're fragile or dangerous. "Rest now, Miss Dawson. You're safe here, safe." The word felt foreign, because 2 nights before, I'd been standing on a bridge, staring down at the dark water, wondering how silence could feel so loud. I wasn't sick in the way people expect. My wounds were invisible, stitched from guilt, regret, and a single sentence I'd never get to take back. Room 314 was occupied by a man named Eli Turner. I met him on my 3rd day, when his IV pole got tangled with mine in the hallway. An awkward ballet of clumsy smiles. "Sorry," he said, his voice carrying that worn-out warmth of someone who's seen too much. He was recovering from a heart surgery. When he laughed, he always pressed his chest, as if afraid his heart might spill out again. We began trading small talk between our doors, him sipping tea, me sketching in a notebook I couldn't fill. There's a rhythm in hospitals, beeps, footsteps, whispers. At night it all softens, and if you're lucky, someone hums in the dark. Eli hummed. Low, steady, and familiar. Like a song my mother used to play when I was a child. I found myself waiting for it every night, measuring time by the distance between his breaths. One night, I asked through the wall, "What song is that?" He paused. "My wife used to sing it," he said quietly. "She died last winter." The silence after that was long and kind. It took me 12 days to tell him why I was in room 312. "My sister and I hadn't spoken for years," I said. "She called me that night, but I didn't answer." Eli didn't interrupt. He just listened. When I finally called back, she was gone, I whispered. "Car accident." She'd been trying to make things right. For the first time, Eli didn't have words. He just said, "You're still allowed to heal, Clara. She'd want that." We began taking our coffee in the hallway, him in his wheelchair, me leaning on my IV pole. Sometimes we said nothing at all. Sometimes we shared stories like fragile glass, afraid they might shatter between us. He told me about teaching literature, about how his students called him Mr. T. He said his wife, June, once left him a note that read, "If love is patient, then I'll wait for you in every sunrise." He still kept that note in his wallet. The edges were soft and tired. On the 15th floor, there was a piano. No one played it anymore. The keys were dusty, the lid half open like a mouth that forgot its song. Eli asked me to go there with him. "I can't play," I said. "Good," he smiled. "Then it'll be perfect." He pressed the keys, one by one, each note trembling, imperfect, and somehow that made it beautiful. He asked me to hum, and for the first time in months, I made a sound that wasn't made of pain. On day 41, a nurse handed me an envelope. No return address. Inside, a note from my late sister's friend. It read, "Before she left that night, your sister said, 'Tell Clara I forgave her a long time ago.'" The words blurred through my tears. Forgiveness had come, quietly, in handwriting that trembled but didn't break. When I told Eli, he smiled softly. "See," he said, "sometimes life gives us the answers after we finally stop asking." Eli was discharged first. He left a folded paper on my nightstand. Inside was a sketch of me, standing at the piano, eyes closed. On the bottom he'd written, "For when you forget, you survived." The day I left, the sky was clean and bright. I walked past room 314, touched the doorframe and whispered, "Thank you." I visit the hospital every month now, not as a patient, but as a volunteer. I read to those who can't sleep. Sometimes I sit at the piano. The nurses say it helps people calm down at night. There's a bench outside the entrance, Eli's bench. I never saw him again, but every spring, someone leaves a paper crane there, always folded from sheet music, always facing east. Last week, a new patient arrived. She looked like I once did, eyes tired from remembering. When I brought her tea, she said, "Do you ever stop missing them?" I smiled. "No," I said. "But one day you start living with them instead of without them." As I walked away, I heard her whisper, "Maybe I can too." Healing isn't loud. It doesn't arrive with fireworks or applause. It comes quietly, in the hum of a stranger's voice, in a song half remembered, in a letter that says, "I forgive you." And sometimes it starts in the room beside yours.